Welcome back. Queer cinema has come a long way from the days of lesbian stereotypes in The Killing of Sister George to Making Love, the first gay-themed studio filmed aimed at mainstream audiences. Chuck is here to take a look at some queer cinema milestones and whether they hit or miss their marks. Chuck?
Well, Pam, it's interesting because the three films that we're going to be spotlighting were all released either in 1980 or 1982. They got a lot of press, a lot of buzz, and it's going to be interesting to kind of talk about the reception that was received by critics and audiences alike. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with Cruising, which came out in 1980. This starred Al Pacino. It looked at the gay S&M world. It wasn't necessarily a movie that they said was aimed at mainstream audiences as a gay film. They said it was more of a murder mystery, but it was all about that gay underworld in the S&M world. So take a look. Here's Cruising, and we'll talk about it on the backside.
A New York City detective in search of a killer is about to disappear into the night.
Is it dangerous?
I can't talk about it.
How do you know you're going to end up the same person when it's over?
An odyssey to the edge of city life.
Bartenders are starting to give me some information. There's this name keeps popping up all the time. There he is, the one with the hat. Is that the one that followed you?
All right, so that is Cruising. And I said we'll talk about it on the backside, but we want to take a look at all three of these films. We're also going to take a look at Making Love and Personal Best, and then we'll talk about all three of them on the backside. Now, this next one is the first main studio film, or first studio film that was aimed at the mainstream audiences as far as a gay film, gay content. It was interesting, though, because it was marketed as a love story, not a gay love story. But it stars Michael Lonkean, Harry Hamlin, and a very big star at the time, Kate Jackson, of course, from Charlie's Angels. All right, let's take a look at Making Love.
Wait, don't tell me. He's not at home, not back from lunch yet, and not at the clinic. Third time this week.
But there was a need in him he could no longer keep unexplored.
I don't know what to do. You gotta tell me, are you in trouble? Is there another woman?
Tell me about your mysteries, my friend. How much longer are you gonna wait?
We're gonna cut this out and we're gonna talk. I can handle it no matter what it is, but I cannot handle the silence.
So, why don't you stay the night?
All right, so that is Making Love. Now, the third film also came out in 1982. It starred a very hot star of the day, Mariel Hemingway. It took place in the Olympic trials. It was looking at the 1976 Olympic trials. Mariel Hemingway, her character falls for another person in the Olympic trials, another lady in the Olympic trials. So take a look right now. This is Personal Best.
I don't know what scares you more, getting beat by Tori Skinner or beating her.
Okay, so Personal Best with Mariel Hemingway. Scott Glenn was also in that movie. Pam, I know you saw Personal Best. I've seen Personal Best. It was interesting because Personal Best probably got the best critical response of these three movies. What was your feel when you saw Personal Best?
And I'll just say, as it should, Chuck, get the best critical response. You know, I enjoyed it, of course. You know, there was a connection to me. I was not out at the time when I'm seeing this movie. And I remember two of the three movies, at some point connecting and watching it, not when I was a teenager, but a little older with my mom, but not out, and her never having any kind of negative reaction to the content. And so that I remember feeling very happy about that. But I enjoyed Personal Best. It is a love story. It also has the stereotypical sports element to it. So I enjoyed it for sure.
And Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel at the time named it one of the top 10 pictures of the year. So it really got a lot of critical acclaim. Did very well its first week at the box office, but then it didn't do very well in the rest of the engagement. So it's like everybody that wanted to see it saw it the first weekend, which is actually the case with all three of these movies. So let's move on to Cruising. So Brent, tell me, did you see Cruising at the time that it came out?
Not at the time it came out. I was probably a little too young to go at that point. I'm just kidding. But no, it wasn't long after, because I remember, in those sort of tween years, when you first started renting movies and seeing things out there, it was one of those ones that I was like, I've got to see this, because you're hungry for something that even might touch on a subject that you're not getting anywhere else. And so seeing it really kind of threw me in a way, like, oh my gosh, is this what being gay is like? And so just sort of that juxtaposed with what then I experienced life to be later. I mean, not to devalue the fact that there were those problems and those things happened, but it showed sort of a very specific niche lifestyle. And I think that is what maybe was detrimental to it in some way, is that there was nothing else to compare and contrast it to at the time. So it's almost like, if you don't know anything about gay culture, this is all you know, is that it's dangerous and you might get killed, or there's, you got to, everything's on the sly. So it really kind of was a dark moment when I watched that. I didn't really know how I felt afterwards. So
yeah, well, and in fact, TV Guide's movie guide, for example, noticed that the gay scene is portrayed in the movie, quote, as irredeemably sick and violent.
Yes,
violence. With virtually nobody being portrayed sympathetically, and the fact that it is hinted at several gay male killers are operating simultaneously. So people felt that it made the whole gay community look like the deviants that were, some of them, that were portrayed in this movie. So it also opened pretty big box office, but then fell off quickly. Now, I know we don't have a lot of time left, so I also wanted to get in Making Love. Making Love, again, big studio film, billed as a love story. Arthur Hiller, who directed Love Story, directed this. They billed it as a love story, not a gay love story. So wanted to just touch on this, that it says that one of the writers said that the planned focus was a husband and wife love story. It was very important to have a love story to interest a major studio. So they almost had to kind of go in the back door and make it between, the Kate Jackson character and her husband. What are your feelings on Making Love, Brent?
Well, what you just said is kind of rings true. It's almost like you got to slip into. A lot of times,
Brent,
gay men are portrayed.
We've got it in the show. I'm sorry, you guys. We could talk for another hour on these. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for watching.